Imagine a city so grand that its markets overflowed with diamonds, rubies, and pearls, sold in heaps like common grains. Picture towering temples with intricate carvings reaching for the sky, and palaces so vast they housed thousands of people. This was Vijayanagara, the city of victory, the capital of a mighty empire that flourished in southern India for over 200 years. The Vijayanagara Empire was a beacon of Hindu culture and power, standing strong at a time when much of India was undergoing significant change. Its story is one of incredible wealth, artistic brilliance, and fierce battles, a saga that has left an indelible mark on the landscape and history of the region, a tale of a kingdom that rose like a star and fell with the force of a thunderclap. The empire's heartland was situated in the Deccan Plateau of South India, a rugged rocky terrain defined by the Tungabhadra River. This river was the lifeblood of the kingdom, nurturing its fields and protecting its capital. The empire's territory eventually grew to encompass most of modern-day Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. Its strategic location allowed it to control the lucrative trade routes that crisscrossed the southern peninsula, connecting the spice-rich Malabar coast with the bustling ports of the Coromandel coast. This geographical advantage was crucial to its rise, allowing it to become a formidable political and economic force in medieval India, a true powerhouse whose influence was felt far and wide across the Indian Ocean. The name Vijayanagara itself speaks volumes about the spirit of the empire. It means City of Victory, a name earned through countless struggles and triumphs. For centuries, it was a bastion of Hindu traditions, art, and learning. Foreign travelers from places as far as Portugal, Persia, and Russia were left spellbound by its magnificence, and their vivid accounts give us a window into this lost world. They wrote of a king who was more powerful than any in Europe, of a city larger than Rome, and of a society that was both deeply religious and wonderfully cosmopolitan. The empire was not just a political entity, it was a civilization that celebrated life, art, and faith on a grand scale. Today is July 15, 2025, and though the empire has long since vanished, its legacy endures. The ruins of its capital city, now known as Hampi, stand as a silent testament to its former glory. These magnificent ruins, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, attract visitors from all over the globe who come to marvel at the remnants of this incredible civilization. Walking through the boulder-strewn landscape, one can almost hear the echoes of the past. The clang of swords in a trading post, the chanting of priests in a temple, and the chatter of merchants in a crowded bazaar. The story of the Vijayanagara Empire is a reminder of the cyclical nature of history, the rise and fall of great powers, and of the enduring power of human creativity and spirit. The story of the Vijayanagara Empire's origin is shrouded in the mists of legend, a tale often told and retold with dramatic flair. The most popular account begins in the early 14th century, a time of great turmoil in South India. The Delhi Sultanate, a powerful Islamic kingdom in the north, was expanding its influence southward, causing widespread disruption and challenging the authority of the local Hindu rulers. In this chaotic environment, two brothers, Harihara and Bukka, emerged as key figures. They were commanders in the army of the Kakatiya kingdom, which fell to the forces of the Delhi Sultanate. The brothers were taken as prisoners to Delhi, where they are said to have converted to Islam. Their story, however, did not end there. The Sultan, recognizing their military and administrative skills, sent them back to the south to help quell rebellions and manage the newly conquered territories on his behalf. It was a decision that would change the course of South Indian history forever. Upon their return, the brothers came under the influence of a revered Hindu sage named Vijayanagara. He was a spiritual leader from the Sringeri monastery and a great scholar. Vijayanagara inspired Harihara and Bukka to renounce their recent conversion, to champion the cause of their Hindu faith, and to establish a new kingdom that would act as a bulwark against the northern invasions. Following the guidance of their spiritual mentor, the brothers chose a strategic and easily defensible location on the southern banks of the Tungabhadra River. Legend says that the site was chosen after they witnessed a remarkable sight, a hare bravely turning to chase their hunting dogs. They interpreted this as a sign that the land itself was auspicious and possessed a special power, a place where the weak could become strong. It was here, amidst a dramatic landscape of granite boulders and hills, that they laid the foundation of their new capital in 1336. Hakka, taking the name Harihara I, became the first king of this fledgling kingdom, and his brother Bukka Raya I succeeded him. Thus the Sangama dynasty, named after their father, was born, and the Vijayanagara Empire began its historic journey. The empire was founded on a clear principle: the protection and promotion of Dharma, the righteous Hindu way of life. This founding ideology resonated deeply with the local chieftains and populations who were looking for strong leadership to resist the external pressures. The new kingdom rapidly began to consolidate its power, absorbing smaller principalities and expanding its borders. The two brothers, once prisoners of a foreign power, had become the founders of an empire that would soon become the most powerful and prosperous in all of southern India. While many capable rulers guided the Vijayanagara Empire, its zenith was undeniably reached under the reign of Krishnadevaraya, who ascended to the throne in 1509. His rule, lasting until 1529, is often referred to as the empire's golden age, a period of unparalleled military success, economic prosperity, and cultural flourishing. Krishnadevaraya was a brilliant military strategist, a skilled administrator, and a great patron of the arts and literature. He was a formidable warrior who personally led his armies in numerous campaigns, securing the empire's borders and expanding its influence. He was known for his astute political sense, forging alliances and dealing decisively with his rivals. One of his most significant military achievements was the defeat of the Gajapati kingdom of Orissa, a long-standing rival to the east. He also successfully pushed back the advances of the Bahmani Sultanates, the five Islamic kingdoms to the north that were a constant threat to Vijayanagara's security. His most celebrated victory came in 1520 at the Battle of Raichur, where he decisively defeated the Sultan of Bijapur, Ismail Adil Shah. This victory secured control over the fertile Raichur Doab, the land between the Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers, a region that had been a point of contention for centuries. These military triumphs not only expanded the empire's territory, but also cemented Krishnadevaraya's reputation as an invincible warrior king. Beyond the battlefield, Krishnadevaraya was a visionary builder and a benevolent ruler. He invested heavily in infrastructure, commissioning the construction of vast irrigation systems, including new tanks and canals, which boosted agricultural production and ensured the prosperity of his subjects. He was a devout Hindu, but was tolerant of other religions, and travelers' accounts note the presence of a diverse population living peacefully within his capital. He was also a great patron of literature, and his court was adorned with 8 famous Telugu poets known as the Ashtadigajas, or the 8 elephants of literature. Krishnadevaraya himself was a gifted scholar and poet, composing the epic Telugu poem Amuktamalyada. The capital city of Vijayanagara reached its peak of magnificence during his reign. It became a sprawling metropolis, attracting merchants, artisans, and scholars from all over Asia and Europe. The Portuguese traveler Domingo Paes, who visited the city during this time, described Krishnadevaraya as a great ruler and a man of much justice. He wrote of a king who was physically powerful, cheerful, and respectful to foreigners. Under his rule, the empire was not just a military power, but a vibrant center of culture and commerce, a testament to his exceptional leadership. His reign truly marked the high watermark of the Vijayanagara Empire, a period of glory that would be remembered for generations to come. The golden age of Vijayanagara, however glorious, could not last forever. After the death of Krishnadevaraya in 1529, the empire was ruled by a succession of less effective leaders. Internal squabbles and succession disputes began to weaken the central authority that Krishnadevaraya had so carefully built. The new ruler, Aliya Rama Raya, the son-in-law of the great king, was a capable but arrogant statesman. He continued the policy of playing the 5 Deccan sultanates, Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Bidar, and Berar, against one another. For a time, This strategy of divide and rule worked, allowing Vijayanagara to maintain its dominance. But his meddling and perceived arrogance bred deep resentment among the sultanates. Feeling constantly humiliated by Rama Raya's political maneuvering, the sultanates eventually realized that their common enemy was far more dangerous than their individual rivalries. In an unprecedented move, 4 of the 5 sultanates, Berar, remained neutral, set aside their long-standing animosities, and formed a grand alliance. Their sole objective was the complete destruction of the Vijayanagara Empire, the Hindu kingdom that had dominated them for so long. They gathered their forces, a massive combined army equipped with superior cavalry and formidable artillery, and marched south towards the Vijayanagara capital. An epic confrontation was inevitable, one that would decide the fate of southern India. The 2 massive armies met on January 23, 1565, on the plains near the villages of Rakshasi and Tangadi, in a battle famously known as the Battle of Talikota. The Vijayanagara army, though vast in number, was led by the aging Aliya Rama Raya, now over 70 years old. The battle raged fiercely for hours, with fortunes swinging back and forth. Initially, the Vijayanagara forces seemed to have the upper hand. However, the tide turned dramatically due to a combination of factors. The Sultanate's superior artillery wreaked havoc on the Vijayanagara ranks, and a crucial act of betrayal by 2 Muslim commanders within the Vijayanagara army, who switched their allegiance mid-battle, caused chaos and collapse from within. In the ensuing confusion, Aliya Rama Raya was captured. He was brought before the victorious sultans and was beheaded on the spot. The death of their king sent a wave of panic through the Vijayanagara army, which broke and fled. The defeat was absolute and catastrophic. The victorious Sultanate armies marched unopposed to the magnificent capital city of Vijayanagara. For 6 long months, they systematically plundered, pillaged, and burned the city of victory. They smashed temples, toppled palaces, and set fire to every building, determined to wipe the city off the face of the earth. The great metropolis, once the jewel of India, was reduced to a smoldering ruin, never to recover its former glory. Life within the sprawling Vijayanagara Empire was vibrant and diverse, a rich tapestry woven from different social classes, occupations, and religious practices. The capital city itself was a microcosm of the empire, a bustling hub of activity. Its streets were meticulously planned, with separate quarters for different guilds of artisans and merchants. Society was organized along traditional caste lines, with Brahmins serving as priests and scholars, Kshatriyas as warriors and nobility, Vaishyas as traders and merchants, and Shudras performing various service roles. This structure dictated many aspects of daily life, from one's profession to social customs and rituals, creating a well-ordered, if hierarchical, society. The people of Vijayanagara were generally well-fed, thanks to the empire's sophisticated irrigation systems that ensured bountiful harvests of rice, millet, and pulses. Their diet was predominantly vegetarian, though meat was consumed by certain communities. Foreign visitors marveled at the abundance of fruits and vegetables available in the markets, including mangoes, jackfruits, and grapes. Clothing varied according to social status and wealth. The common folk wore simple cotton garments, with men in dhotis and women in saris. The nobility and royalty, however, adorned themselves in fine silks and brocades, embellished with an astonishing amount of jewelry, including necklaces, armlets, and earrings made of gold and precious stones. Religion was the very soul of the empire, permeating every aspect of daily life. While the rulers were staunch patrons of Hinduism, particularly the Vaishnava and Shaiva sects, there was a remarkable degree of religious tolerance. Jains, Muslims, and Christians lived and practiced their faiths freely within the empire's borders, especially in the cosmopolitan capital and coastal trading ports. The calendar was filled with religious festivals, which were celebrated with great pomp and pageantry. The Mahanavami festival, a 9-day celebration, was the most spectacular of all. It involved grand processions, athletic contests, animal sacrifices, and royal ceremonies, showcasing the wealth and power of the emperor to his subjects and foreign dignitaries. The cities of the empire, especially the capital, were architectural marvels. Houses were built with flat roofs, and the palaces of the nobles were large, well-built structures, often decorated with paintings. The city was a blend of sacred and secular spaces, with magnificent temples standing alongside sprawling royal enclosures, administrative buildings, and bustling bazaars. The markets, as described by visitors, were a sight to behold, filled with goods from all over the world. Spices, textiles, and gems were the mainstays of trade, but one could also find horses from Arabia, silks from China, and velvets from Europe, painting a picture of a truly globalized and prosperous society. The immense power and stability of the Vijayanagara Empire rested on three strong pillars: a prosperous agricultural economy, a thriving network of internal and overseas trade, and a formidable, well-organized military. The foundation of the empire's wealth was its land. The rulers understood the critical importance of agriculture and invested heavily in creating an extensive network of dams, canals, and reservoirs, known as tanks. These irrigation projects transformed arid tracts of land into fertile fields, allowing for multiple harvests a year. The state collected a significant portion of the agricultural produce as tax, which formed the primary source of its revenue and filled the royal treasury to the brim. This agricultural surplus fueled a vibrant internal and overseas trade. The empire controlled a long coastline with numerous ports on both the western Malabar coast and the eastern Coromandel coast. These ports became bustling centers of commerce linking Vijayanagara to the wider world. The empire exported valuable commodities like spices, especially pepper, cotton, textiles, rice, iron, and sugar. In return, it imported goods it lacked, most notably war horses from Arabia and Persia, which were crucial for its military. Other imports included copper, coral, mercury, and luxurious silks and velvets. The trade was so profitable that customs duties collected at the ports constituted a major secondary source of income for the state. To protect its wealth and territory, the Vijayanagara Empire maintained a massive and powerful army. The military was composed of a large infantry, a formidable cavalry, and a well-regarded elephant corps. The real strength of the cavalry depended on the continuous import of high-quality war horses from Central Asia and Arabia, a trade that the empire went to great lengths to control. The army was organized under the command of nayakas, or military governors, who were granted territories in exchange for maintaining a fixed number of troops for the emperor. This system, known as the Nayankara system, ensured that a large, decentralized army could be mobilized quickly when needed. The combination of these factors created a self-reinforcing cycle of power. Agricultural wealth funded the military, which in turn protected the trade routes and expanded the empire's territory. The control over trade, especially the vital horse trade, gave the Vijayanagara army a significant advantage over its rivals. Foreign visitors were consistently impressed by the sheer size of the army and the immense riches of the king. The Portuguese chronicler Fernão Nunes estimated the Vijayanagara army to have numbered in the hundreds of thousands. This combination of economic prosperity and military strength made Vijayanagara the undisputed superpower of South India for over 2 centuries. The Vijayanagara Empire was not just a military and economic powerhouse, it was also a crucible of artistic and architectural innovation. The rulers were great patrons of the arts, and their legacy is most spectacularly preserved in the magnificent temples and monuments they built. The Vijayanagara style of architecture is a unique and vibrant blend of the styles of earlier South Indian dynasties, like the Cholas, Pandyas, and Chalukyas, but with its own distinct character. The result was a style that was both grand in scale and incredibly intricate in its details, a testament to the skill and devotion of the artisans of the period. The temples built during this era are characterized by several key features. They often have towering entrance gateways known as gopurams, which are adorned with a profusion of sculptures depicting gods, goddesses, and mythological scenes. Inside the temple complexes, one finds ornate pillared halls called mandapas. The pillars themselves are a marvel of craftsmanship, often carved from single blocks of granite into fantastic shapes such as rearing horses, lions, or divine beings. Another distinctive feature is the Kalyana Mandapa, or marriage hall, an open-air pavilion with an elevated platform in the center, used for conducting the symbolic marriage ceremonies of the temple's deities. The ruins of Hampi are a veritable open-air museum of this architectural style. The Vitala Temple is perhaps the most famous example, renowned for its musical pillars that produce musical notes when tapped, and its iconic stone chariot, a shrine carved in the shape of a ceremonial chariot. The Virupaksha Temple, which is still an active place of worship today, stands tall with its massive gopuram dominating the landscape. Beyond the temples, the royal enclosure contains the remains of palaces, administrative buildings, and ceremonial platforms like the Mahanavami Dibba, a three-tiered platform covered in exquisite relief carvings depicting scenes of courtly life, hunting, and warfare. This artistic patronage extended beyond architecture. The empire was a flourishing center for sculpture, painting, and literature. Sculptors created breathtaking works in stone and bronze, capturing the grace and power of Hindu deities. While few paintings from the period have survived, fragments found in temples and literary descriptions suggest a vibrant tradition of mural painting. As mentioned, rulers like Krishnadevaraya were themselves poets and fostered the growth of regional languages, particularly Telugu, Kannada, and Tamil. The art and architecture of Vijayanagara were an expression of its deep religious faith and its immense worldly power, a creative explosion that left a lasting imprint on the cultural heritage of South India. The catastrophic defeat at the Battle of Talikota in 1565 and the subsequent sacking of the capital city dealt a mortal blow to the Vijayanagara Empire. However, the empire did not disappear overnight. The story of its end is one of a slow, painful decline rather than a sudden collapse. Following the destruction of the capital, the surviving members of the royal family, led by Tirumala Devaraya, the brother of the slain Aliya Ramaraya, fled southwards. They carried with them what little treasure they could salvage and established a new, much smaller capital, first at Penukonda in present-day Andhra Pradesh, and later moving further south to Chandragiri and Vellore. From these new capitals, the rulers of what is known as the Aravidu dynasty, the fourth and final dynasty of the empire, attempted to rebuild their authority and reclaim their lost glory. For a time, they managed to hold on to a significant portion of their southern territories. Rulers like Venkata II showed flashes of the old Vijayanagara spirit, patronizing art and literature and trying to resist the encroachment of the sultanates. However, the empire was a shadow of its former self. The central authority had been shattered, and the loss of the immensely wealthy capital and the fertile northern territories was a blow from which it could never truly recover. The real power now lay with the mighty Nayakas, the military governors who had once been loyal vassals of the emperor. In the chaos that followed the battle, these governors began to assert their independence. The powerful Nayaks of Madurai, Thanjavur, and Jinji, who ruled large territories in the Tamil-speaking south, started to act like independent kings. They still paid nominal allegiance to the Vijayanagara emperor, but in reality, they governed their own domains, collected their own taxes, and waged their own wars. The empire slowly disintegrated from within as its former servants carved out their own kingdoms from its crumbling edifice. The final end came in the mid-17th century. The weakened and fragmented empire could not withstand the renewed pressure from the north, this time from the expanding sultanates of Bijapur and Golconda. These sultanates systematically conquered the remaining territories of the once mighty empire. The last ruler of Vijayanagara, Sriranga III, fought valiantly but was ultimately defeated, and by 1646, the empire ceased to exist as a political entity. The flame that had burned so brightly for over 300 years was finally extinguished, marking the end of the last great Hindu empire of the south and paving the way for new powers to rise in the region. Though the Vijayanagara Empire collapsed nearly 4 centuries ago, its echoes still resonate powerfully in the culture, language, and landscape of South India. Its most visible and breathtaking legacy is, without a doubt, the sprawling ruins of its capital city, Hampi. Spread over a vast area, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is a hauntingly beautiful landscape of fallen temples, crumbling palaces, and abandoned marketplaces strewn amidst giant granite boulders. Walking through Hampi is like stepping back in time, offering a tangible connection to the grandeur and glory of the empire. It stands as a powerful reminder of both the heights of human achievement and the destructive forces of war. The empire's influence extends far beyond these stone monuments. It played a crucial role in preserving and promoting Hindu religion and culture at a time of significant external pressure. The patronage of the Vijayanagara rulers led to a renaissance in South Indian art, architecture, and literature. The unique architectural style they developed continued to influence temple construction in the south for centuries, particularly in the kingdoms established by their former Nayak governors. The literary works in Telugu, Kannada, and Tamil that flourished under their rule are still considered classics, and the religious institutions they supported, like the Sringeri monastery, continue to be important centers of Hindu learning and spirituality. The administrative systems developed by the empire also left a lasting mark. The Nyankara system, for instance, influenced the political structure of the successor states, and even some administrative practices of the British, when they later came to rule the region. The empire's focus on irrigation and water management created agricultural prosperity that shaped the economic landscape of the Deccan for generations. The legacy of Vijayanagara is embedded in the very fabric of South Indian society, in its religious traditions, artistic sensibilities, and even in the political organization that followed its demise. It created a cultural synthesis that defines much of the region to this day. What can we learn from the story of Vijayanagara? It teaches us about the incredible heights a civilization can reach through strong leadership, economic foresight, and a vibrant cultural life. It also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of arrogance, internal division, and the inevitable cycles of history where power shifts and empires fall. The rise and fall of the City of Victory is a timeless saga of human ambition, creativity, faith, and folly. Its story, etched in the stones of Hampi and woven into the cultural tapestry of South India, continues to inspire awe and reflection, a testament to a golden era that, though lost to time, will never be forgotten.